Morning everybody, welcome back to another video. You're probably saying, hey, you said last week you were going to do it on Wednesdays from now on. Well, I had time to do it today, so I'm going to do it today. Sorry, I put my finger right in front of the lens there. I don't have time to do a whole bunch, but I'm going to show everybody how to do something that's very easy to do here in Florida. And that is to plant pineapple tops and successfully propagate pineapple. Pineapple is really easy to grow here. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It doesn't really take a lot of care, really. I'm sure there are certain things you can do to make it grow better and produce faster and all that. But I can tell you from experience of not really doing a whole bunch to my pineapples, and I still get pineapple. It does take some time when you plant a pineapple top. I think it takes a couple of years for it to to actually produce pineapples, but it does work. It will work, and something has rooted in. Look here, I guarantee that was an armadillo right there, rooting for bugs. But I'm gonna get some dirt from out here, and don't know if you heard, my kids are leaving, but I'm gonna get some dirt from out here because I'm gonna mix in with the amendment that I have. It's a store-bought amendment, and it actually says to mix it with your native soil. It's not potting soil. It's not soil in and of itself, but you can mix it. It's got some nutrients in it. I'll show you really quick since I'm out here. This guy's leaning, but I've got these tomatoes are looking really good. They're doing really well. If you ever notice this right here, see that line in there? That's something called a leaf miner. They are a pest. They can cause damage to your plants, but I have never had them actually harm a plant. So I don't usually do anything about them. I just leave them alone unless they're all over the plant. But normally they don't really cause a problem. They just kind of stay where they are. But it's a little caterpillar, I think, that actually digs around inside the leaf. But anyways, I got a couple of blueberries that I have planted here. The third blueberry that I have, I'm going to put here. I just haven't done it yet. And these pole beans, or snake beans, are doing a whole lot better than the ones I had planted in the front of my garden. These are looking healthier. They're climbing. The bottom is kind of scaring me on some of them because it's looking yellowish, but they seem to be healthy. They're climbing. They climb higher and higher every day I come out here. So we'll see what they do. And I've been fertilizing them once a week with that liquid fertilizer that I have. Over here I've got the okra that I planted is coming in. There's a yellow pear tomato, an okra, another okra, yellow pear tomato, okra, and I think that's it. Somewhere in here I planted those sweet potatoes, so they may or may not come up. But anyways, I've got the soil in the pot. Let me check really quick since I'm out here if I need to pollinate any pumpkins. They've kind of been slowing down, and there are some of them that are actually starting to ripen. So I'll show you that really quick. That's what mine look like when they start to ripen. They turn that pale orange color, and they don't get very big. That's about as big as they get. That's the variety that I have. There are different varieties of Seminole pumpkin. Yours might be a different color. Some Seminole pumpkin are white. You have some that are that orange color like I have. I think there may be even like a greenish color. You have some that are small and round like that. I have this little lizard. He's right down there. He kind of hangs out around here. He likes to hang out in that flower right there. But lizards are good to have in your garden. So something that I haven't done that I would recommend doing is making a rock pile. This thing is running all the way out here. I don't think I'm going to get any more pumpkins out of this, to be honest. I don't know why, but every time I see a female flower bud, this is what happens to it. It dies before it even opens up. So I don't think I'm going to get any more pumpkins out of it this year. I don't know. Something may have gotten to it and damaged it enough, those leaf rollers. But I think I've got about 10 pumpkins, so that's all right. That'll work. And I can always plant more. My wife actually brought up that I planted later last year than I did this year. So I may plant again. We'll see. But you may have some Seminole pumpkin that looks like more of a gourd. It'll be like a longer neck and like fatter around the bottom. That's all different varieties of Seminole pumpkin. So if you buy some Seminole pumpkin seeds and you plant them and they don't look exactly like mine, or they don't look exactly like pictures that you've seen on the internet, don't panic, because that doesn't mean that it's not Seminole pumpkin. That just means you may have a different variety, because that happens. Mine are just a more or less a straight up heirloom variety. They make little pumpkins, little orange ones, but everyone is a little bit different. So yeah, don't worry if you have them and they don't look the same as others. That doesn't mean that they're not Seminole pumpkins. So let me get this. That didn't work. Let me get this. I actually bought this stuff. You've probably seen me use it on here before. I bought this stuff at Big Lots. They had big old bags of it, so I bought a couple, 2 or 3, maybe 4 bags, and I just put it in these 5-gallon buckets, and it has come in handy. But it's got, I think it may have soil in it, but it's like chicken manure and some it's more of a soil amendment than it is. It's almost like compost. It's more of a soil amendment than it is soil itself. So what you're supposed to do is get your native soil and mix it in with it, and it'll help loosen up, make more of a loamy soil instead of here where we have more of a sandy soil. And yeah, so now the thing with Big Lots, if any of you have any experience with Big Lots, it may be there one time and it might be gone the next, because that's how it works. But yeah, I mean, you can always keep your eyes peeled. They'll have things like this come and go, and if it's there, you can take advantage of it because it's a good price. I don't remember how big the bags were. I want to say it was a 10-pound bag. It may have been more, and I think it was like $9.99 a piece, something like that. So it was cheap. So I bought a whole bunch. I bought, like I said, 2 to 4 of them. I can't remember exactly. And I have used it as just strictly potting soil, even though it said not to, and it worked. But really, you're supposed to mix it with soil, and so that's what I've started doing. So I think that'll be good there, just for planting pineapple. These things are getting dry rotted, I'm sure, because they sit over here in the sun. Okay, so let me show you what I'm dealing with here. Had a pineapple, cut the top off. Obviously that's where the fruit was. Now, if you look, you can see at the bottom there, like right where my finger is, there are already roots, dried roots right there. Kind of looks like ramen noodles or something. Those are roots, and basically they're just dormant. But to expose them, you can see there's like this kind of a, you know, right here where the, in between my fingers there, the top of the fruit was at where my thumb is here, and the leaves went all the way down to about, they covered these roots. So what I do is I cut all the fruit off, and then I start pulling the leaves off, and I expose a little bit of this core like that. And that just makes it easier. You don't technically have to do that, but I think that if you do, it's a lot more successful. One other thing you can do is do this and then put this in water, sit this in a glass of water. The roots will hydrate and they'll start to grow. But again, you don't have to do that. I've done it 2 different ways. I've put it in the water and it works. That's how I've gotten, you know, several of the pineapples that I have. And the last pineapple that I had, I just took this and put it in soil, and it took. Now it might start to look kind of sad to begin with as the roots are starting to come to life and to you know, sink down into the soil and start to absorb moisture and nutrients. But don't worry, because it will come back and it will continue to grow. So really all you have to do is stick this down in there. Actually, I think I'm gonna dig a little bit, just make a little bit of a, because the soil can get a little compacted, so I'll make a little bit of a divot there, and then I'll put this in. Now, one thing about pineapple, their root systems are pretty shallow, so I have had success. Most of my success with pineapple has come from growing them in pots. I have pineapple over here that I've started. I have pineapple over here that was gifted to me. This one right here was the one that I just stuck, like the one I just showed you. I just stuck this in the soil. You can see the bottom, you know, has started to kind of die, looking kind of sad. But if you look here at the top, all of a sudden new leaves are coming out. It's growing from the top, because it'll grow from the middle here. So this one has taken. But these bigger ones I have over here, that one's kind of sad. It may be getting too big for its pot. This one's one that I maybe started that one maybe a year ago, maybe half a year ago. I don't remember. But these have all been in pots, and none of these have given me fruit yet, but they may not be old enough. However, some people say it's best to grow pineapples in pots because of their shallow root system. And you can do that. I've done that, and I've gotten fruit off of them, and they do well. I've also heard that if you plant them in the ground, that it is best to plant a bunch of them together so that they kind of support each other, which I've done that. I've also seen people just plant them individually. It can be done in multiple different ways, but just be aware they do have shallower root systems. So they can be kind of, I don't want to use the word flimsy, but I think you get the point. So I'm gonna water this a bit. Now I've also heard several different things as far as water goes with pineapple. My wife's grandfather grows pineapple like crazy. He's got a ton of them. He's one that's given me some of his pineapple, some of the plants. And he claims that they like water. He actually puts his pineapple underneath like the corners of his house, where if it rains the water comes down. He says you can do that. He says you can put them near where your hose is, so you remember to water them every time. But I've also seen and read where I think it was actually David the Good talked about pineapple in one of his videos, that they don't require a ton of water. So I've had success both ways. So you see what I'm saying? Pineapple are pretty forgiving, and they're pretty easy to grow, and they're kind of like the gift that keeps on giving, because every time you get a pineapple at the store, plant the top, and you'll continue to have pineapples. Now they will get smaller. Each consecutive generation will be smaller. So you may end up with pineapples, like I've had pineapples that are maybe softball size, a little bit bigger. But they still tasted good, you know. It's just how it works. But if you have a bunch of pineapple, here's the way I see it. If you have a bunch of pineapple plants, even if you have a bunch of small pineapple, you're going to get a bunch of pineapples. So, you know, it kind of works out. But pineapple are in the bromeliad family. So, or they are bromeliads. So if you want to look up, you know, you can look up how to care for bromeliads and apply that same thing to pineapple, and it will work. If you have an area, I've have like my parents, for example, and my grandparents have sections of their yards where there are a ton of bromeliad that they have planted, and they're doing really, really well. They thrive in where they have them planted. And so I'm just checking on my little key limes here. This one is going to be ready soon. But anyways, if you have a section where you have bromeliad, like if you know, let's say you move into a new house or something, and you have a section of your yard or somewhere under a tree, something like that, where there are bromeliads, the odds are, if the bromeliads are doing well, you can also plant and grow pineapple there, because pineapple are bromeliads, so it will translate. And a lot of times, I think bromeliads are grown in partial sun. They don't like full blast sun. So kind of the same thing with pineapple. I think they will grow in full sun, but I think they prefer, and they're healthier if they are in partial sun. So that's just something else to keep in mind. Like I've showed before, I've got pineapple out here. Now, one thing is, I think, just from my observation, that pineapple will grow bigger if you put them in the ground. Now, my pineapple out here are kind of all covered up because I don't weed out here like I should, but they're still growing. Like, even covered up with weeds, they're still growing. They don't seem to care. But this is the biggest one I have, and it's right here under this tapabuya tree. But it has gotten substantially bigger since I planted it in the ground. Maybe that has nothing to do with it. It may have gotten that big in a pot. I don't know. But just from observation, I think that it will get bigger if you plant them in the ground. But I have 4 planted out here. There's one here, there's one here, there's one there, and then the big one. What I had thought about doing, and I still may end up doing, I just have to clear out all this brush, is having all this section with just covered in pineapple. And that's because I can plant them close together and they can help support each other's root system. Now, we'll see. Just an idea. I haven't decided because it is easy to grow them in pots. It's very easy to grow them in pots. So sometimes it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to leave it in a pot. But we'll see. But anyways, I'm going to run the sprinkler for a little bit because we're getting into fall is usually our dry season for us. So I'm going to run the sprinkler on the garden, and I am going to shut it off for today. And we'll see how it goes. I was able to do Tuesdays. I was able to do a Tuesday today. But we'll see how it goes. It may be a Tuesday, it may be a Wednesday. One of those days I will put up a video next week. So, as always, I greatly appreciate anybody watching. Please subscribe so and help me grow this channel. I can't grow it on my own. And please share this with anybody who who likes gardening, who wants to anyone who would be interested in this. I would greatly appreciate the share. And until next time, I'll be back next week. Have a good week.